The goal of this class is for you to just begin getting familiar with the tool because it is something you're going to use on a regular basis. What is Google Search Console? It's a free tool from Google. When I found it, it was like an aha moment. Same with Google Data Studio, but that's a later class. It was once called Google Webmaster Tools. Google changed the name and actually changed all the dashboards and moved it over so that more business owners and marketers wouldn't be so afraid to use it because it had the word webmaster in it. A lot of people thought only webmasters could use it. But it's more user-friendly now. And who is it for? It's for anybody that has a website. There are some great benefits to using Google Search Console. Helps you measure, monitor, maintain, optimize, fix issues, and troubleshoot. And the equivalent is Bing Webmaster Tools, which you will get an account for that too. We're going to do that in our co-working sessions. A little bit of search speak, but you already know some of this. Queries are the keywords that generate impressions when your website shows up on the search engine results pages. A click is the number of clicks from the SERPs from Google, just from Google. Search Console only measures Google traffic. Impressions are the number of times the URL is seen in the search engine results, and that can even mean if you're on page 60, right, it still shows you. Then we have the click-through rate, which is the impressions divided by clicks. And then to get the percentage, you multiply by 100. The higher you are up in the search engine results pages, the more clicks you get, the higher your click-through rate. And position. This is the 1 to 10 SERP little boxes, your little snippets of text. There's 1 to 10 on a page. This doesn't include the rich snippets and rich results, which are things like people also ask. We're going to look a little bit into those today, which is really interesting. And then just to preempt you for your Google Analytics journey, using Google Analytics and Google Search Console together can really help with your SEO. What you're going to be doing as an SEO is you might provide a report for your clients, but it's going to be your job to dig into the information because you're trying to pull out what's going on so you can make a plan. The whole idea is to get more traffic and then convert that traffic into paying customers. Now, a little dashboard overview. There's going to be a lot in Google Search Console. We are not going over it all today. The home screen will go over when we go into the dashboard on Google Search Console. We're going to look at the performance and search and discover, the enhancements, the links, and the settings. Coverage and experience are a bit more advanced, but you're going to end up playing around. Your whole job is to just go around, click around, and get down. Performance, this is where the magic is. This is where we see click-through rate, page position, your impressions. It's how Google is seeing the pages against specific search queries, and you get that information. I always tell people that Google Search Console is what happens before somebody gets to your website, and Google Analytics is what happens after. It's the searches people do, right? We can actually see keywords that people are searching show up in our search engine results pages. Your SEO strategy is validated by whether or not you're driving traffic or the relevant searches, the keywords you've picked are now ranking. It is such a great feeling to pick a keyword for a blog post, write a great blog post, and then start seeing the keywords show up in Google Search Console. It is a great feeling. And then you can see if you maybe picked the wrong thing or picked the right thing. But at least you can say, hey, look what we did, right? So the things you can do in the performance report are comparisons and filtering. You can look at your keywords to page. You can look at query report. There's a lot in there to play with, and you are going to play with it. And it's really fun, and I can't say enough good things about Google Search Console. Index. Your journey through the index, we are not going to spend much time on the index section. We are only going to spend time on sitemaps, which by the end of next week, I believe you will be submitting your own sitemaps. I'm going to explain a little bit about them today. Coverage and removals, that's a bit advanced, so we're just going to skip it for now. There are two types of sitemaps. One is an XML sitemap and the other is an HTML. A sitemap is like a list of pages that basically list out your media files and your blog posts and your pages and sometimes video. It makes it easy for bots and people to understand your website. They basically help the search engines discover new content. They help the search engines figure out if you have freshness of content, which we talked about as a ranking factor, one of the reasons you might blog. And it helps them discover and prioritize pages. It is not mandatory. It is easy. So we do suggest you doing it. Some people will ask, should I do it monthly? Should I do it daily? Should I do it weekly? Should I do it yearly? There's lots of questions. I think if you get a new website, you should do it, or I'd like to do it quarterly, but when I look at what I do it about yearly, but it is not mandatory. So the XML sitemap, if you look over to the left-hand side, you'll see this is an XML sitemap. It's a map, a list of information that is in the XML language, which stands for Extensive Markup Language. You do not need to know really more than this. It's pretty easy to do. You can use third-party tools. You can do it manually. The HTML sitemap used to be more important because websites used to be harder to navigate. They are not as hard to navigate. However, most people are putting their sitemaps in the footer of their page, basically listing out the different pages of your site so that people that visit your site can easily get to what they want. And we are just following the best practices of what Google's doing, what Apple's doing. If you look at any of those sites, on their footer is the listing out of their web pages. Enhancements, this is where we see those rich snippets, and Google tells us about them. We remember rich snippets are extra information that we see. So those images, recipes, star ratings, right? All those things, the breadcrumbs. These are all rich snippets. A lot of them are determined from structured data, which is schema, which later on in the advanced section, you are going to learn how to do. This will help websites rank in the rich snippets, also called rich results. Here's a couple of examples of rich results. Here's a breadcrumb up here with the little about. And then down here, if you type into YouTube, you can get a results box right on the search engine results pages. So you don't even have to go into YouTube. That is a rich result as well. That can actually happen for bigger sites. I went through all the accounts we have and listed out all the different enhancements I saw. So enhancements on the other side on the search engine results pages are rich snippets, right? And these were all the ones I saw. So logos, job postings, how-tos, products, FAQs, review snippets, breadcrumb, site links, search box, all those things. So we're going to go have a look at what you have in yours, and not everybody has all of them. If you're not an e-commerce shop, you won't have products. And if you are and aren't showing up there, then when you put schema on your site, that's one of the things you would utilize. So you could show up and rank. Security and activation, don't worry, this is really fast. The big thing you want to know here is that you don't want to see anything here. That's it. And if you do, you want to reach out to Phelan and I to just talk about it so we can see what's going on. But that is all you need to know for that section. And this one's really easy too, which is the legacy tools and reports. Remember I said that Google moved over from Webmaster Tools to Google Search Console. They actually did what they're doing with Google Analytics 4. The old Google Search Console is there, but everybody uses the new one. And now the old one has basically been deprecated. It's done. However, there's one thing you can do in there that we can do easily, and it's do our targeting. Are we targeting the US or Canada? I think you can only target one country. So, but if you're in the US, why not put that you're targeting the US? Why not tell Google what you're doing to make it easier for them? Oh, you're also going to see web tools for AdSense. If you don't know what AdSense is, it's the ads you can get paid cents if from Google if you advertise like little box ads. And I don't use AdSense. I like websites without ads, but that's me. Okay, and now, because we talked about it last class, we talked about those internal and external links. Those are a part of what you'll get to see in Google Search Console. So Google Search Console is going to tell you about your internal links. They are linking to your site from your site. So from your property to your property, they can help you do really well, and it can actually increase your SEO. Here's how you navigate to them. Don't worry about that. That's just in case you download the slide deck and you want a reminder of where to go. Why are they important? Because they can actually boost your SEO. We can use keyword rich text. They help Google index and find other pages, and they're telling Google what the other pages are about. SEO, people will do an internal linking strategy to increase their page rank. It does work. It is slightly an advanced type of thing to do and a bit of hard work. The main thing you want to know is you want to use internal linking on every page on your site, and we can actually see the pages you're linking to in Google Search Console. Now, y'all remember backlinks? That's linking, so that's external links, right? Backlinks are external links, also known as inbound links, incoming links, and one-way links. They're links from another website to your website. They're like a vote of confidence. Phelan will go into more detail about these in the future. The main thing you want to know is that usually the higher number of backlinks, so the higher number of external links pointing to you, the more valuable your website seems. Now, that being said, it used to be a huge strategy, and out of that we saw some bad stuff going on online. So it used to be a more proactive practice. Google doesn't want it that way, so they've kind of steered people away from it. And do you remember when we talked about the algorithm updates? This was a Penguin one. So this algorithm update still runs in the background. There's also a spam bot, and they're basically out there helping discover low quality backlinks and devalue them. The thing about this is if you're a website owner and you hire an SEO company and they do a negative practice, like buying links from link farms, that can hurt a business, and they have to climb out of that hole. You have to be really careful when you hire an SEO to be able to ask them questions. There's actually a document on Google that will tell you what type of questions to ask an SEO when you're hiring one. I can share that information. So this algorithm update helped Google identify spammy links. And inside Google Search Console, you're going to see the external link report. It's going to show you the links from your property to your property on your top linked pages. Usually most businesses or other websites will link mainly to your homepage. You'll also see top linking sites. So if you're a marketer and in a footer of a website, you put your website URL, all the pages on that website will be a backlink for you, which is good. And you're also going to see top linking text. And this is why we talked about the internal linking structure where the rich text that we want to put in has keywords, because you're going to see some funny things like click here and things like that. External links are amazing. And the uses for the report are, it keeps you up to date with the websites linking to you. Are they an authority site? Are they not? Are they spammy links? You can check your latest backlinks of referring domains, which is interesting. And you can actually see if there's bad linking, and eventually you can try to get rid of those. You can see detailed reports. We are going to dig around in Search Console, which will show you all of these reports. The external linking, if you're a bigger website, you're only going to be able to see 1,000 backlinks. This is perfect for us. because I think most of the sites we even work with don't have that many, but I could be wrong. We want to see what's important. For instance, if I'm a restaurant, I want to see our food bloggers linking to me, or review sites. That would be really helpful, right? Is Yelp linking to me because I have a Yelp account? Remember that the top linking text is only from pages from outside your site to your site. This is not the internal linking text. This is just the external. And why does it matter? We want to pay attention to our link reports. We know that these links give clues to Google as to what our content is about. And it also helps with relevance of pages, right? Why I mentioned Black Hat SEO here is because of that, the linking strategy of buying links. You never want to buy links. Anybody selling links, you say no thank you. I believe it's the same with social and buying friends and followers. Black Hat SEO tries to manipulate the search results. Link building was a big one. I actually worked at a company that did this before they knew it was a bad practice. And so all the websites they worked with were affected. And it was bad. It was a Google Ads company first. So then they tried to get into SEO because they were making money. That was before I actually got into SEO myself. Great thing about all of this, and if it's stressing you out thinking, oh, how am I going to know if it's a bad link? Don't worry, because basically Penguin is saving the day behind the scenes, and you're probably not even going to worry about this. Just wanted to mention it because you're going to pay attention and you're going to see this stuff. Settings are, you might think, oh, settings are boring, but are they? No. In your settings, this is where you're going to get users, association, and crawl stats. Well, I'm telling you this because we are going to play in the associations and we're going to look at crawl stats. With users, it's weird. In order to give a business owner access where they can add and delete users, you have to go through the process you went through yourself to verify ownership, which is put the HTML tag in there or verify through Google Analytics or Tag Manager. So just so you know that, so you can give access to other professionals or the owner, but if they don't verify themselves, they're either a delegated owner or another one, where they can't add or remove people. Associations is a new thing, new-ish, where Google's letting us associate other Google accounts. So Google Search Console, you can associate Google Analytics or YouTube or Google Analytics 4. And we want to make those connections. The crawl report is really interesting. Initially, it may overwhelm you, but I just want to say you're going to end up learning what a 404 page is and what a 301 redirect is. And you're actually going to see this information in Google Search Console. As you get more familiar, you'll become more comfortable. Now, don't worry, we are going to dive right in to the platform, and that's going to be pretty interactive, but I wanted to give you some free tools. These will also be in Kajabi. If you ever download the slide decks, you'll also get their free tools in that where you can just click on them. These tools are fun testing tools, so you can validate schema. You can put your website in here and see, does your page... You can test your website and see, does it support rich results? And it'll tell you yes or no. A fun thing to check out for your website. We'll come back to that in a sec. But then you have your mobile friendly test, your speed test, your GT metrics. These are all tests. And this is the last link is the disavow link. So that's for trying to get rid of links. Don't worry. You're not going to worry about this now, but at least you have the information. And we're going to dive in, because that's the fun part. Let's go back and look at this. Oh, look. Okay. And Phelan's going to go through this more with you when you're learning more about this, but it says 3 valid items with some warnings. I'm not worried about the warnings because when I look at the warning, it says I'm not putting in my price range. But I am showing up for some rich results, which is breadcrumbs, local SEO, and site links. Yay. So you can see what you're doing. And now you can go right into Search Console from there if you want, Or if you land on this page, the home page, just know you might be like, mine doesn't look like when everybody else signs in. Always go to the hamburger menu, and that will open up the window where you can search for your property. I know it's not intuitive, but I am now going to take you over to Google Search Console and we're going to go through it. Now, if you were just going to go sign into Google Search Console, you could just sign in, right? And just type it in there. You might see something like this because you might have signed up for it. It's only visible to you. You can give Google some feedback. You can click on this hyperlinked blue rectangle. But we're going to go into that later. Just know that when you see something like this, Google's telling you, hey, pay attention to this. I would just go to the result here and click on it and then click on Start Now. You can actually go and read about what Google allows you to do. Now remember, this information does not include the maps and Google My Business stuff. So this is regular SEO stuff. The maps is a whole different thing. And Google even offers some training. So if you want more details, it'll take you right over to YouTube and you'll get the whole list, which is a little hard to go through, but it is good. I'm more fun. So let's go there because I'll teach you everything. Okay. So we're in Google Search Console. This is our first real dashboard look or platform, or some people call it reports. And what I'm going to take you through is this dashboard. And we're going to go through a lot of the things we talked about for some repetition. So when you sign in with all Google products, on the left-hand side, you are going to get a horizontal menu. If you have the hamburger menu, this pops things in and out. Sometimes you'll get a secondary menu here, which is more likely in Google Ads. Just know developers like lots of options. And your home screen with most Google products will say overview or home, and all the things in the middle of your screen will take you to other reports. Enhancements are enhancements, right? Experience is experience. Some people don't have experience. Coverage, you can see coverage full report. If I click on this, you can see that it opens over here. Ooh. And if I go back to the home screen, performance is where we're going to spend a lot of time, which is right here. Sometimes it's up here because if you have search and discover, you'll get your little own performance tab that has a drop down. If you don't have discover, you'll just see performance up here under URL structure. And we can look at that. I can show you a good example. Let's go here. Oh, see, you'll see performance here, right? This we're going to go over last, but this is Google's trying to direct you to that same blue bar we saw when I typed in Google Search Console into my search engine results pages. So if I click on this, it will take me over to some fun stuff. We'll go through this. I tell clients to look here because it gives some snapshot information that's fun and helpful. Just gives you some insights. Now, notice the bell icon. This is giving you updates. You can go to user settings here. That is different than the settings here. This is where we're going to spend most of our time. First thing we're going to do is look at the most fun thing, which is your performance tab. Your performance tab gives you queries that your website showed up for. Remember what happened before people got to your website. What did they search in Google? You do have lots of options here that you want to start clicking around with, and you can try to filter things out. You can use the comparison, right? Compare web, right? See this. Sometimes it does take a minute to load, and we can see comparisons now. We could take off that comparison. We're going to go back to filter, web, apply, and that'll bring it back Not intuitive. The other not intuitive thing here is when you click on these lovely boxes of color, they end up giving you a drop down table. But when you click them off, it leaves the graph and it leaves the table. Just so you know that if you sign in, you're like, why do I only get 2 things? That's why. You can change your date range. 16 months is the most amount of time. And you can compare like last 3 months to previous 3 months or last year 3 months. So if I did a comparison, I could pick, or I could actually just do custom what I want to see. And that's good to see where you're ranking. We actually do some manual keyword tracking with this. So we have a spreadsheet. We find the keywords we want to track, and we go in every month and we find where are they ranking, what is their impressions, their clicks, and their click-through rate. Is it arduous? Maybe a little. Will we figure out a better way to do that in the future? I hope so. When we are in the performance report, you can filter here. You can filter for top queries, and then you can get rid of things like does not contain brand name, because maybe I don't want to know, I don't want to see anything with brand name in there. Now, taking your clients in here might confuse them. We pull this information into Google Data Studio. One of the things we do that we're going to spend more time doing and go through it a little slower is we'll go over to pages and say I want to see what keywords is this specific page ranking for. So when I clicked on the page, it created it as a filter. When I have it filtered, then I go back to queries and I can see all the queries that Google is saying, hey, you're showing up for this. This is the first place where I actually start my keyword research, because when I know the position, the number of impressions, and the click-through rate, I can make a decision on, do I want this to be my main keyword in my content, or do I just want to include some of these keywords because Google's thinking, hey, you are showing up for this, maybe you want to use that. So there's a lot of playing around in here, and that's your job. It's your whole job is to go and play around. Now, if we jump out of the performance, if you're looking at this graph here in the performance in the search results, I can see there's been a big jump. This is where you're going to see some algorithm changes at points, or when you start working on SEO for somebody, oh, is it going up? This is where when you write a blog post and you actually pick a keyword, you can see, did I get that page to rank? Yes, I did. Okay, couple other things you're going to notice. This is the copy, these 2 pages. You can actually go to the page, like you can jump out of Search Console. Always with Google, there's going to be these little things that you can click on to see more. What did I just click on? I clicked on the inspect element, basically the glass thing. Excuse me, lost my nouns. Anyway, you can see all these things. Google has crawled the page, submitted, it's mobile friendly. I have breadcrumbs that are detected on this page. That's very interesting. You're going to end up getting lost in this. The URL inspection tool is just something fun to start looking at. Put in your URL, put in a specific one. Whenever you want to go back somewhere, just go to the menu on the left-hand side. You'll see with all these things, usually you'll get the 3 options, right? And when you scroll down to the bottom, they have, I think you get 1,000 results, depending. So these are all my web pages, right? Discover is, some people have it. It's basically Google Pixel phone. Phelan can speak more to that. If we go down to coverage, this is where we see problems. If we see problems, don't be scared. This is just going to help you in the end. As you click into things, you'll learn more. You'll keep going and you're like, oh, what is going on? What are these things? And you can see there was a 404 submitted. If I click on it, usually I get more information on what the page is. But I'm not going to stress about that. A lot of the things that happen, you'll get emails from Google Search Console saying, oh, there's coverage issues. A lot of the times it fixes itself and it's a glitch with the Google. So don't stress if you ever get those emails. Send them to us or ask questions and click on the email and go in and look. My headphones just slightly died. Sitemap. You are going to enter a sitemap. Different websites, Shopify, WordPress, Squarespace, and Wix all submit their sitemap a little differently. But for WordPress, I think this is the convention. We're going to go and submit a sitemap together, so I don't want anybody to stress about this. It is not a hard thing to do. When I first started doing it, I did feel a little overwhelmed, but I didn't have somebody to hold my hand. And now that I understand more of what sitemaps are and what they're doing for me, I can just go submit one. So even though you can have a sitemap for images and video and blog posts and pages, we just submit one and Google will find it all, right? And then as you can see here, you can click on this, find out more information, which takes you over to coverage, right? So you will get bounced around in Google Search Console and you're just going to slowly get used to things. As I said, where you're going to spend most of your time is in performance. The index, the sitemap you're going to do. However, if you are generating a lot of content, maybe you want to do it more. If you're not updating your content, this is not something to do all the time, maybe yearly, and it just really helps the search engines find and crawl your site. Removals. This is where if there's an issue, we request that Google remove it, and we don't spend much time in there. The experience is related to page experience. I don't have much information. You have to be having a lot of pages on your site, but this will over time grow. And see, it's telling us, hey, go to Page Speed Insights and put in your website, and that'll tell you. Now, this is one of the audits we do. This is one of the simple audits we do. Simple to do, hard to understand. But basically, just know with Page Speed Insights and the mobile tests that all the different testing tools are different. We'll get more into that in the advanced stuff. I don't spend a lot of time. There's a lot of new language. I am slowly learning. Phelan knows this stuff better than me. Okay, and then breadcrumbs and site links. So in your enhancements, this is where you're going to see all these interesting things. You can see, right, when you click completed items, you can click into them, and then you can actually click into this and see more. What is Google doing? Ooh, source code, a little bit overwhelming, but we could look in this, and Phelan could describe this better than I could. So I'm just going to leave that, be like, cool, because that's what you want to be doing with Google Search Console at this point. No reason to get overwhelmed. If we look at, say, if we look at this, they have more extensions, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, hold on. I just want to show you another one. Bubbles and Bombs, they actually have products and logos. So that's using schema, right? So they did schema. I know that these people, even though Shopify out of the box does some product schema for you, they went and checked it, updated it, and I believe that's probably the reason they're showing up with that. They review snippets, that's awesome, and logos. If you're a e-commerce site, you definitely want to get in the review snippets and the products. Logos are cool. Manual actions, remember, we don't want to see anything here. And this is just, so this is basically Google's little toolbox for you to help you manage your site. And over the years, you'll get better. So this is not I learned it today and I got it all today. This is, hey, I learned about this platform and I'm going to pay most of my attention to the performance tab. The other thing we want to look at here, we got the legacy and international targeting. If you go to legacy tools, all these things are deprecated. This is the one for AdSense. basically Google will tell you with messages, hey, your actual messages now show up here. All these things are the messages. And Google gives you a little monthly report. And so they'll say, we found problems, we fixed problems. The international targeting, I find, I do this for all the sites. Your FLang, that is the language on your site. Is it English? You can actually put a tag on your site to say, my site is in the English language, or it's in Chinese or French, or I should say like Mandarin or Cantonese. Like you can be specific. And then you can target your country. As you can see, I've done it. Although I do work with people in the US too. And then look, add your business to Google Maps. This is your Google My Business, takes you right in. So we're starting to see more and more connections between the Google products that they offer you. And as a website owner, you get Tag Manager for free, Google Search Console, Google Analytics 4, Google Optimize. So there's lots of tools for us to use that a lot of business owners don't know about. When we leave the legacy, we go to links. And this is fun, to be honest, because this is telling us, okay, remember external links. If you want to read more information, you can click on the little question mark, and you'll see this in all Google products, and you can go see more information. Now, all of these go down a little rabbit hole. So it's telling me I have total 850 external links. But then I want to click on, okay, who's linking to my homepage? And I can see all the websites linking. I can actually go to them. I can see lots of my clients here because we have our business name in the footer. And I can see, because I'm a local business, I'll do this thing called name, address, phone number around the web. And that's why you'll get Find Local and yellowsites.ca and Zoomifo. This is just a place to start to get acquainted. And you can see the breadcrumbs across the top of the page. So we go back to links, so you can dig in there and click through and actually go see pages. Top linking sites you can see. And you can actually click on them and then go, okay, they're linking to my homepage. What else can I know about them? Okay. It's all the linking pages to my homepage. So then we get top linking text. Now this is somebody linked to my website and the link was website. And you can't go deeper, right? You can filter for rank and link text. I find it just interesting to see. Is there much you can do here? No, besides look at it, which I do. And I'm sure there'll be more use over time. And of course you can go in. So all this is about external links, and this is about your internal links. So this is where you can find possibly orphan pages or pages that don't have many links. In everything I do on my website, I link to the Contact Us page because technically that's what I want them to do in the end. But I should do a better internal linking strategy. Now that my content is more solidified, as I go on and on in business, I can actually use a linking strategy because my content has become more full and accurate in what I'm doing. Your first year of business, you're like, content, make content. And then your second year, you're like, okay, make content and then clean up old content. And then your third or fourth year is basically try to make content and clean up stuff. This is a place to just start getting familiar. And you can export all this information. Sometimes when you export more sample links, that's interesting. When you sometimes get more information. So it never hurts to download stuff and look at it. We're going to show you how to download information and pick keywords using conditional formatting. But that's for later. And then, so I would just have fun, look around. The settings is the other place we're going to focus on a little bit of time. User and permissions, this is where you go to add people. If you do not have the right permissions, you will not have this. You need to be a verified owner. So if you don't see the ownership verification, you cannot add people. And you can see there's full and restricted. Those are the two accesses you get. I don't think restricted is very good, to be honest. Associations, now you can see when I click on this, Google will tell you if you have an association to connect. You can request from the other side. I can request from Google Analytics 4, and maybe that's when my association shows up. So I've already linked my YouTube channel, but I have to have it here. If it doesn't show up, it means it might show up over time. It means you might want to request from the other platform. And then when you're going to associate, basically you're going to click in, you're going to find what you want to associate. So that would be Seymour Digital Media GA4, and you click continue. And then it says GA4 has one data stream. Select which one you would like to associate. Okay, that's the one. That's my only option. Okay, so this isn't supported in Search Console yet. Isn't that funny? But we were able to still associate it, even with those warnings and things. So just simple association. And then, so we did that, but how do we get back? It's always the breadcrumbs. So we go back into settings. If you change your address, this is really interesting. You can add change of address. Here it is. When you move to a new site, so say you've changed your business name, or you're changing your business name and rebranding, you could add it here, and so you can keep information. The other fun thing to look at is the crawling stats. You just go open reports, and you're going to learn all these 404, 301s, 304s. What do they mean? Don't worry, you're going to learn it. So this is just to check out what's going on. Here's your response time, average 122 milliseconds. So as you can see from the inflection of my voice, I don't know some things, and I don't really work on page speed as much as I probably will be doing in the future. But here you can see a crawl breakdown, what the pages are, what's happening with the pages. And you can actually see what types of files are on your site, which is neat. What Google bot type has crawled your site. It's interesting, right? And this is pagination. So when they give you the arrows instead of the drop down, you can go to the next page. And last, and I just like this because I think it's neato. And so no problems for the last 90 days. Click on that. Click on this. You can just, maybe there's nothing to see, but maybe you'll be like, oh, what's that? I have a question about that. So this is where having an SEO team behind you is really helpful, because it can be fun and overwhelming all at the same time. Let's go back to our overview tab. And then the last thing we're going to do before I open this up, and hopefully you're not all sleeping, is I'm going to click on this new Search Console Insights. So this is something in beta. You'll see here, if you click on the beta, nothing happens. It's great. You click on the insights, nothing happens. However, if you manage a bunch of sites, you'll have a drop-down menu here, and you could just put in whatever site. And if it hasn't been set up, it'll look like this. So if this happens, go to learn more, and go through the process. It's just saying, hey, you really want to associate your Google Analytics account. So that tells me I need to go into my associations. And if I don't see the Google Analytics property, I'm going to go over to Google Analytics, and I'm going to, try to connect my Google Search Console, and we'll do it together. Anything that's not working will show up here in a colored box. There's no search function, which is not the greatest, because at least it's alphabetical. Sometimes Google does not offer that. And if we go back here, so this just tells us what's been going on. Let's see. So this tells me my most popular content. I can actually click into these things, and it'll say, ooh, okay, people are spending time on this. It's higher than average duration. How are people finding me as I scroll down? So this is generally, it's referral, organic, and direct. What's going on? Most search queries. So this is a great thing to show a business owner just on the fly if they don't get reports. So as an SEO, you're going to spend more time in Google Search Console. This is just a quick, hey, look at this. And Top 5 results, that's great. Top 5 results, yay! You can click in here, trending queries last 28 days. But then we go back up here and you can actually go into the actual page and see a bunch of different things. Top traffic, where's it coming from? Social, it'll actually tell you the social accounts usually. And what are people typing? Like, how are they finding this page on my site? So user data collection and acknowledgement, which is something you click on, remember when we set up Google Analytics for, and I guess I talk about it, and I guess that gets me clicks because people are like, should I do that? And this is so when you decide to write a blog post, when you pick a keyword and you're actually strategic about it, you'll start seeing the keyword show up in here if it's good, or in the regular performance tab. Even if it's not good, it could show up. Your top ones will show up on the first. This will give you education, right? Click on it and it'll give you about the data and then tips. So that's something new. And if you don't like it, you can be like, share feedback and what's the problem they want to know. Google does try to be helpful and they do give you a lot of information. It can be overwhelming, but as I said, your whole job is to get comfy with the information and play with Google Search Console. And then I'll teach you how to do the keyword research that we do.